I'm not feeling the hottest, so I stayed home from bingo tonight. So I'm making homemade gnocchi. Yum! You can use whatever potatoes you want. I think they said red makes it a softer dough, or if you leave them overnight, it makes, I can't remember, but I'm using russet potatoes because they're the cheapest at the store for me. Use whatever you have though. And you're gonna start off with a pound of potatoes. I'm using older ones, so I'm gonna take that little sprout off. I'm gonna wash them, throw them in a pot. I'm not going to peel these at all. Throw them in a pot, cover them with water, and boil them until they are tender. I switched to a smaller pot because I am gonna use the other pot for the sauce. Another great thing you can do is just use leftover mashed potatoes. I usually don't have leftover mashed potatoes because I would rather eat a mashed potato than a gnocchi because I love mashed potatoes. I love potatoes in any form, but I especially love mashed potatoes. So I'm doing this specifically for this recipe. While the potatoes are cooking, we're gonna start on the sauce. So I'm gonna take a small little onion. It's very small. I usually don't keep these, but these were also cheap at Winco for like $1.89 for a 3-pound bag or something, so that's a win. And then we're going to take about 5 small tomatoes. You can use on the vine or Roma. You can even use a cheap can of tomatoes that you get at the store, whatever you have. But we're going to start off by chopping an onion. If you don't like onions, don't use onions. You don't need them. I just like the flavor of them in a sauce. All right, we're going to start off by sauteing our onion first to get it a little color on there. Now we're going to add in about a glug or parts measurements of garlic, or 2 tablespoons or so. Now we are going to throw in our tomatoes, all of them, and just mix that together for a minute before adding your water. All right, to the pot we added 1 teaspoon of oregano, 3/4 teaspoon of dried basil, a little bit of hot red peppers crushed, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of parsley. These are all dried ingredients, and I'm just going to mix that together. That mixture is bubbling along so great. I'm going to add in about 1/2 cup of water to it and bring it to a boil and let it simmer and for maybe 20 minutes or so. Potatoes are done when you can go through them, and it just goes really smoothly. So take them out of the water and let them cool down. Next time I'm just going to air fry them for about 20 minutes until they're soft, and do it that way, because boiling them, I don't know, either way works, whatever you want. I skinned mine and broke them up a little bit, and I'm going to throw them in the freezer to cool down for maybe 15 minutes or so. We're going to take the sauce and throw it in a blender and blend it until it's nice and smooth. If you don't have a blender, just leave it chunky. Who cares? If you like it that way, who cares, bro? But I have a blender, so why not use it? Potatoes are nice and cooled most of the way, so we're going to throw them in a bowl and mash them up as best as you can. It ain't much, but it's honest work. To this sucker, we're going to add 1 cup of flour, 1 egg, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Mix it together until it makes a nice dough. It may look like it needs another egg, but just use your hands and mix it together. Throw some flour on a board, throw the dough on there, and start making tiny ropes. I cut my dough into 3 pieces to make it easier. Cut it into, I don't know, 1-inch pieces. Make it look like gnocchi, baby. This dough is super forgiving, so when it starts coming out like that, just squish it back together. You actually don't need any extra flour. It's fine because the wetness or the moistness helps with it. So do whatever you want. You're supposed to be able to take the fork and just go like this, but I think my chunks of potato are too big, so I'll probably be not doing that. If you have a big chunk like this, just take it out, bro. Just smush it back together. I don't know. I'm gonna lightly dust these guys with some flour, roll them around so they don't stick onto the pan. We're just gonna cover for about 20 minutes and let them rest. We're gonna boil some water, throw some salt in it, and we're gonna do batches of the gnocchi. All right, water is boiling, so we're just gonna throw in a couple, and then once they rise to the top, that means they're done. And it took about a minute, but they are rising to the top, so I'm gonna take out the ones that have risen. It took about 1.5 minutes for these, and so I'm just gonna put a little bit of olive oil on them and spin them around there. Y'all, that sauce is amazing. I do think it needs a little bit of salt, but I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese at the end to top it. So I don't think I'll add any salt because Parmesan is a little bit salty. So we'll see. All right, moment of truth. Let's go see how the hubby likes it. Hubby and I really liked the gnocchi. It was super good. I still do think it needed a little bit of salt. And he said that the suggestion he would make is make them smaller. So next time I'll do that. But otherwise it was really good. Sweet potato gnocchi is delicious too. And if you take it and put it in a pan, that's even better. Like saute it a little bit, and after you boil them, it's so good that way. So hope you guys enjoyed and have a good night.